Hello and namaskar viewers, I am Sanjeev Pandya welcoming you to this week's episode of the Tax Talk with AJ. The show is sponsored by Sai CPS Services, a professional accounting firm located in the state of New Jersey. Multiple locations, but they can assist you no matter where you are in the state for any tax matters, any bookkeeping matters, any payroll matters, because their on-hand knowledgeable CPAs and experienced staff will help you with any business matter. You can give them a call at 908-888-8900 or visit their website, sciencecpsservices.com. With that note, I'd like to welcome Mr. AJ Kumar of Science CPS Services with over 25 years of experience, and he holds degrees like CPA, CVA, and MBA. He brings in a wealth of knowledge and experience to this show. AJ, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sanjeev ji.
Good to have you.
With MBA, CPA, and CVA means business valuation licenses for our viewers, and then Series 7 and Series 66 wealth planning licenses as well. Some people believe they are harder to get than the CPA license, actually.
Really? Any more degrees that you plan to
No,
add
I'm not sure.
in 2026?
Life is all about learning.
Yeah.
So the good thing is, just because we have the MBA in finance, we have the wealth planning license, business valuation license, we can look at a small business from a holistic view. If you go to a CPA who doesn't have the MBA, CVA, wealth planning licenses, you more than likely find somebody who is just doing the data entry in a software and spitting out the tax. This is what you owe. But why? I'm not even making that much money. No. This is what you owe. This is what you have to pay to the government. What can I do to reduce this tax? We don't know, because they don't have the Series 7 and Series 66 licenses to decide where you can invest money in a qualified plan to reduce your taxable income.
Very good. All right, so since you have these 3 degrees, Ajay ji, kabhi aapne aisa socha hai, did it ever occur to you that at the end of December, at the end of the year, you sit down and you say, okay, I'm CPA for this many years. Let's see how much money that degree brought in. I'm CVA for this many years. Let's see how much money that brought in. And I'm MBA for this many years. Let's see how much money it brings in. And then you add up the number. You must be coming to a few millions, right?
I'm not sure if you can quantify how much money each degree is bringing.
I'm just kidding.
But I tell you, I have been here in this country since 96. And since 99, I write my yearly diary. Every year I'll write my monthly goal, quarterly goals, yearly goals, family goal, social goal, financial goals, learning goals. So and it's all black and white, handwritten in the diary. And then I'll check it every quarter, every 6 months, what I'm achieving, what I'm not achieving, So each degree I learned, and I learned it painfully. Each degree, each part of the education bring some value to your life.
Yes, absolutely.
Directly or indirectly.
Yes, absolutely. So you are the goalkeeper now that we have learned. You are the goalkeeper. Anyway, so let's continue our conversation with goalkeeper AJ. I mean, as you know, I'm just joking. AJ with CPA, CVA, and MBA, and like I say, wealth of knowledge and experience that he brings in the show to guide us and to inform us. All right, so we are in month of December. We're all waiting for New Year to come in, 2026, but at the same time, you also need to wrap up this month and the year, look at the taxes and how much income you're going to make and whatnot and everything. All right, so I'm going to talk about that part, that what you really need to do before the end of the year. But now let's talk about very important. You get some tax documents. You get W-2s, you get 1099s. Now let's talk about 1099. Why 1099 and what is 1099?
Absolutely, Sanjeev. 1099 is an information filing. A 1099 document is similar to a W-2 document. If you are working, if you have a job, you get something called a W-2 at the end of the year, which summarize how much money you got, how much social security you paid, how much income tax you paid, which state you worked in. All that is summarized in a W-2. Similarly, if you are a contractor, if you are not an employee, but worked as a subcontractor, freelancer, you get a document called 1099. 1099 could be of many different types. Say, for example, there is something called 1099 NEC, non-employee compensation. So an accountant, payment to an accountant could be considered as a 1099 NEC payment. payment to your website designer, anybody who you paid more than $600 in total throughout the year, who is not your employee, who is a subcontractor or freelancer, that person typically gets a 1099 NEC. A different type of 1099 is called 1099 miscellaneous, MISC, 1099 miscellaneous. All the rental payment, all the royalty payments goes through 1099 miscellaneous. So if you have a small business, you are making the payments to your landlord, you are expected to issue a 1099 miscellaneous to the landlord. So make sure all these miscellaneous payments, rent, royalties are included in 1099 miscellaneous. If you are paying interest because you borrowed money for your small business, you are supposed to issue a 1099 interest. There is 1099 dividend that the company issues if they are issuing dividend. 1099R means retirement. If at the end of the year you get a retirement account, if you take money out of your Roth IRA, if you take money out of your traditional IRA, SCP plan, your retirement account, this company, the brokerage, will issue a 1099R to you. You have 1099S. If you are selling an investment property, selling a home, more than likely the attorney, the closing attorney, will issue a 1099S to you. So there are different type of 1099s. It depends on the situation, depends on the scenario, what type of 1099 needs to be issued. The idea here is somebody made a tax deductible payment to someone else. It's not through W-2, not an employee. So how do we track this payment? How do we know that you are claiming this payment as an expense on your business tax return? How do we make sure the other person is claiming this as an income on their tax return?
Absolutely. Now, let's touch base upon two other categories. One is 1099B, as in boy. That's for the brokerage transactions, correct? And now, because the Zelle and Venmo and everything has become so popular, there's a 1099K.
1099K has always been there. It's issued by the merchant centers when you have your business accepting credit card, accepting Zelle payment, Venmo payment. Generally speaking, these merchant centers will issue a 1099K to you. And the idea here is, it doesn't matter what type of 1099 you're getting, a copy of this 1099 goes to IRS, a copy of this 1099 goes to the state, and a copy of this 1099 goes to the recipient. The onus, the responsibility belongs to the person, the company who made the payment. The payer is the one who is going to issue the 1099. It doesn't matter what type of 1099 you have. Now, this payer, by issuing this 1099, wants to tell the government, this is a legitimate business expense for me. Remember, it's a business expense. So if you have a cleaning lady at your home, you have no business, you have cleaning lady coming to your home, you don't issue a 1099. 1099 is issued for business expenses with an intent to claim that that expense as a tax deductible expense. The idea is now the IRS know that this person made so much payment, this much payment to this person. Now this person wants to claim it as a tax deduction. Now we know this social security number received the money. So they must include it on their tax return as taxable income.
All right, so 1099 basically is someone's expense and the other person's income.
Absolutely. So a lot of times we are asked, what if I don't have the receipt for this expense? What if I paid in cash? What can I do now? So if you paid in cash, you don't really have a proof that you made this payment. In those cases, it's more important to issue the 1099 so the government knows there is no dispute around it. Hey, I issued a 1099. This person accepted the 1099. This person has the 1099. I'm claiming it as an expense, so this person can pay the right taxes.
Okay. All right. So that's a 1099. All right. So these are the categories that you explained to us. The categories 1099. Once the person gets 1099, what should be done with that 1099?
100%. So once you receive the 1099, it must be reported on your tax return. So a lot of time people ask us how much is the minimum income that forces me, that requires me to file the tax return. And you will see a lot of Google articles, a lot of internet articles that will talk about if your income is less than $14,000, you don't need to pay, you don't need to file the taxes. That's true for the W-2 job. If you are a single filer, just because the standard deduction is $14,000, that's why the concept, the misconception, this perception, this theory comes that if you are making $14,000 as a single filer, you don't have to pay the tax. But that's for the W-2 only. If you are making more than $400 as a subcontractor, as a freelancer, and remember, the 1099 is issued if you made more than $600. So if you got the 1099, it's mandatory, it's compulsory for you to file the taxes. And how do you file the taxes now? You need to include it on your Schedule C. Even if the 1099 is coming to your own name, it's considered as self-employed income. And Schedule C, C as in Charlie, is where you report the income, the 1099 amount. You have the right to claim certain expenses. Let's say, going back to the cleaning example, if you have a cleaning job and you're cleaning office spaces, you made $10,000. This $10,000 becomes your income. All the expenses, the supply, the travel, and you may have other laborers, other people working for you, all that become expense against this $10,000. So you don't pay tax on $10,000. You pay tax on $10,000, the 1099 amount, minus all the expenses that you can claim against it. The net income is what you pay taxes on.
Okay, very well said. Thank you so very much for that information. With that note, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to discuss that, once a 1099 is reported on the tax return, that's fine. But what are the deadlines for the 1099? That's all you should know. That's coming up right after this message. Stay with us. Welcome back to the second half of the Tax Talk with AJ. This is the show brings you all the latest and the greatest you need to know when it comes to taxes. What are the changes for taxes? What you should really be doing when you file taxes? What are the things that you really need to be taking care before you file taxes? There are a lot of things involved, and that's what AJ of Science CPA Services brings in this show, all the information and the guidance that you really need to know. But if you get confused somewhere and you need more information, you need to reach out to Science CPA Services by calling 908-888-8900 or visit their website, sciencecpaservices.com. Before the break, AJ told us the various categories of 1099 and what exactly is 1099. Someone's income becomes someone's expense, so on and so forth. But now, let's touch base upon the deadlines for this 1099 because it varies and you really need to know about that because it is a bit different than W-2s, so 1099 deadlines.
So IRS has this 1099 deadline for January 31st, Sanjeevji. So the way the concept works for the prior year, so by January 31st, 2026, we are supposed to reconcile for the year 2025 and issue a 1099 to all the subcontractors, all the freelancers, the landlord, somebody who we paid the royalty out to, somebody who we paid the interest as a business. Again, just to remind our viewers, 1099s are issued to legitimize expenses as part of the business. If you don't have a business, if you are making this payment from your home, you are not required to issue a 1099. You don't have any obligation to issue a 1099. So 1099 deadline is January 31st. If you can't file by January 31st, please try to file ASAP. The penalties are very high, depending the type of 1099, and the penalties can be duplicated because the IRS did not get a copy, the recipient did not get a copy. So all these penalties get multiplied. A typical business can have 10, 20 more 1099s. So a small penalty becomes very, very large amount, especially if it can be proven that there is an intentional disregard to the law. So please, and how do you prove that there's an intentional disregard to the law? Because you did not issue any 1099. What it means is, if you were supposed to issue 10 1099s, 15 1099s, and you issued 7, 10, 12, you issued some 1099. You could not issue everything. We can understand the information was not available to you. But if you did not issue any 1099, that's not seen positively. That's not taken kindly.
Okay. What are the common mistakes that you really want to address upon to the viewers for when it comes to 1099? What should really they do to verify it's all correct?
Absolutely. So please get a copy of the W-9, signed copy of the W-9 from the vendor, from this freelancer, from the person who you are making the payment. Before making the payment, you cannot come back to IRS and say this person is not giving me his social security number, or they are not giving me their EIN number. That's not acceptable. Before you make the payment, get a copy of their signed W-9. Make sure if it's a business, it clearly specifies if it's an LLC, S Corp, C Corp partnership. You don't have to issue a 1099 to a C corporation or S corporation unless they are an attorney. All attorneys must get the 1099. But if it's a C corporation or S corporation, meaning INC, you don't have an obligation to issue a 1099 to them. If it's an individual, make sure the spellings of the last name are right. IRS system will check the last name with the social security number. Make sure you are not making these payments to an ITIN number, ITIN number. All these payments needs to be issued the social security number, unless if they have the ITIN number, more than likely they don't have the work permit to work in this country. The situation is getting very, very strict when it comes to immigration. Please be extra careful who you hire and if they have the right documents or not.
Okay. All right, good. Now, with the 1099, is there a way that they can save some taxes on a 1099 and the income to be reported or something like that?
Absolutely, there are several ways to save taxes when it comes to 1099. So, if you compare with W-2, if you make $100,000 on W-2, you cannot claim the travel, uniform, meals and entertainment, home office, laptop. All these expenses cannot be claimed as deduction on your W-2. But if you have the same amount on 1099, your home office expense, your travel expense, your gas expense, your client entertainment expense, your uniform expense, your laptop expense, your phone expense, your internet expense, all those expenses, as long as they're meant for business, because you're self-employed now, can be claimed against this income, and you pay taxes on the net leftover income, not on the gross income. Even on the net leftover income, you have a lot of options to invest money into your own qualified plan. The beautiful thing is SEP, Simplified Employee Pension Plan, where you can claim up to 20% of your net income from a Schedule C from self-employed, or if it's an S corporation, if you're running your own payroll, you can go up to 25% of your own payroll. So there are rules around it. Maximum is $70,000 for this year, but it's a significant amount. It's a large amount, and the money is going into your own retirement account, more like a traditional IRA. You can compare it with, and it further reduces your taxable income.
Okay, all right. 1099 for a foreign contractor. Do foreign contractor get 1099 or
Well,
what
it's
happens?
not 1099. The comparable form is 1042. And not all foreign payments require 1042. There is a form, W8BEN, that you need these foreign contractors to fill up to claim if they have any nexus with the country or not. If they have any nexus, then you have an obligation to file 1042. There may be some income tax withholding around it, depending on which country you are making the payments to. It could be as low as 5% or as high as 40%. In India, it's either 15% or 30% generally, depending on your income tax bracket, depending on few factors. But the idea here is when you are making the foreign payments, you have to be extra cautious, extra careful, have these foreign vendors complete W8BEN. The onus remains on you. If after 6 years, if tomorrow we find out that there should have been a withholding that you did not do, we will hold you responsible for it, and will try to penalize you to collect money for the withholding that should have come out of the foreign payment.
Okay. Now, question about domestic contractor. Earlier question was for foreign contractor, but for domestic contractor, AJ, what if someone pays that contractor, some money cash and some money online using one of the apps or something like that? Then what should they do preparing 1099 for that contractor?
So before you make any payment, get a W-9 form signed, so you know their full name, you know their social security number, you know their address. If it's an LLC, S corp, proprietorship, partnership, you know their EIN number. You want to include the total payment. Doesn't matter how the payment was made. Doesn't matter if the payment was made via cash, Zelle, Venmo, check. That's not important here. Whatever the total payment you made in the whole year. Let's say if you have been making $100 payment to the cleaning lady every month, you need to issue a 1099 for $1,200. So one single 1099 for the total payment that you made throughout the year, irrespective of how you made this payment.
All right. And quickly, AJ, as we have less than 2 minutes left in the show, any major mistakes that should be avoided when they get 1099? Earlier, you mentioned about the name and SS number or the TIN number and everything else, but anything else that you like to add so that our viewers will know that what are the mistakes that should be avoided?
Absolutely. So we have been talking about the payer, we have been talking about the business side of it, but if you are the one who is receiving the 1099, make sure you check your own books to confirm that the amount that's reported on the 1099 is the right amount. Remember, you have to pay tax on this amount. So if this amount is higher than what you received, now you're expected to pay more taxes than what you should have. If the 1099 amount is not right, please immediately contact the business that is issuing this 1099 to you to get this 1099 corrected. Make sure you check the last name of the 1099. You want to make sure the information on this 1099 is right the way you want to see it. And if there are any question, please go back to the business that's issuing this 1099 to get it corrected ASAP.
Okay, last question quickly. With these apps where payments are easily made to the contractor and everything else, so the person who makes the payments and person who receives the payments via these apps, do they really need to keep very, very good record of it, what was paid and what was received to prepare 1099?
Absolutely. See, at the end of the day, if you want to claim this payment as an expense, you have the obligation to prove it. IRS has 6 years to come back to you to say, why did you claim this expense? We deny this expense. So the onus, it's your responsibility to track all these expenses. So if you are making significant payment to somebody, especially if you want to claim this payment as a tax deduction from your income, you have to maintain this payment. If you are receiving this payment, you want to track it also. If somebody is issuing you a more 1099 than what you actually received, because they can claim higher expenses. Somebody gave you only $1,000 and now they issue a $10,000 of 1099. So they can claim $10,000 of benefit. They can claim $10,000 as a tax deduction. But if you only got $1,000, you don't want to pay tax on $10,000. That's why tracking these payments is extremely useful when it comes to taxes.
Okay, this information has been extremely useful also for our viewers. AJ, thank you so very much. We touch base upon 1099, the importance of 1099 and everything. And should you miss anything, should you want to get more information, reach out to Science CPS Services, 908-888-8900. Tell them that you saw the show on TV and then you have question. And for your tax returns, do contact Science CPS Services and they'll make sure to have your taxes done right. Once again, their phone number 908-888-8900. Visit their website sciencecpsservices.com. So we are thankful to Science CPS Services for sponsoring the show. We are extremely thankful to Suhag Jewelers for sponsoring the second half of the show, the Tax Talk with AJ. AJ, once again, thank you so very much.
Absolutely. Thank
Until
you.
we meet again, same place, same time, I am Sanjeev Pandya, wishing you all tax-free and happy gold shopping days ahead. So long.
Thank you.